As the nation anxiously awaited the outcome, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa scored a big win Friday when the nation's constitutional court confirmed his disputed July 30th presidential election victory, dismissing an opposition challenge that had held up his inauguration. Opposition presidential candidate Nelson Chamisa had filed suit claiming his reported 44% share of the vote, which put him behind Mnangagwa's slim 50.8% victory, was inaccurate and that he won. But in a unanimous ruling of the 9 judges on the country's top court, Chief Justice Luke Malaba said opposition leader Nelson Chamisa had failed to prove allegations of fraud during the presidential vote.
Emmerson Mnangagwa is duly declared the winner of the presidential elections held on the 3rd of July, 2018.
Mnangagwa now faces the challenge of persuading the international community that the army crackdown and lapses in the election process will not derail his promise of reforms needed to fix the economy. Joining me now with more on Friday's Zimbabwe's Supreme Court ruling is VOA Zimbabwe reporter Blessing Zulu. Blessing, welcome back to Africa 54.
Thank you so much, Esther. The pleasure is mine.
Well, the ruling is final. Mnangagwa won the election. Any reaction from President Mnangagwa himself so far?
Yes, President Mnangagwa has addressed the nation on his Twitter account and also on the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, saying that he is open to meeting with opposition leader Nelson Chamisa, and he says he wants the nation to move forward, and he's saying that this decision is final and no one can appeal. Therefore, what is left is for politicians to find each other and take the nation forward.
Now, that's a very quick reaction because it was just hours ago. What about his inauguration plan? Do we know when that will be?
I spoke to the ruling ZANU-PF party secretary for administration, Paul Mangwana, a few minutes ago, and he says, as per constitution, the inauguration will go ahead at the National Sports Stadium on Sunday. So it's 48 hours after this ruling as per the country's constitution.
That is pretty fast. How about the opposition? Has Nelson Chamisa or his camp reacted to this ruling?
I spoke to his spokesperson, Dr. Nkululeko Sibanda, who says that they are rejecting the Constitutional Court ruling. And I asked him about also what Mr. Chamisa's response to the olive branch extended by President Mnangagwa, and he said it was too early to comment on that. They are just not happy that the Constitutional Court ruled in Mr. Mnangagwa's favor.
But what next? What can they do next? Is there any appeal? This is final, isn't it?
This is the final court. I don't think they have any legal leg to stand on, but maybe they will take to the streets. But the government had already deployed the army and the police. So the situation in most cities is very tense.
Now, former President Robert Mugabe had indicated that he will meet with whoever is going to be the president. Is he likely to meet his former deputy?
Now it's looking less likely because Mr. Mnangagwa, in an interview some 2 weeks ago, was saying that he wants to take some farms for President Robert Mugabe because he was not happy that he had begged Mr. Chamisa during the elections. So it's less likely.
So are we likely to see any riots? Like you said before, there is a heavy police and military presence in Harare and elsewhere in the country. Do we expect any riots?
It's going to be very difficult, really, for the opposition because unlike on the 1st of August, when the opposition took to the streets and resulting in 6 people being killed allegedly by the army, this time it appears the state is prepared. But usually in the evening, in the high-density areas where the majority of the poor live, that's where riots are likely to occur. But talking to the police spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner Charity Charamba, she's saying that they are ready and they are hoping that there won't be any violence.
Generally, very briefly, do Zimbabweans feel that the future is going to be hopeful?
It's very difficult. The nation is divided, and also it was a tall order for Mr. Chamisa to have this victory overturned. Remember, it's only Kenya in Africa that managed to have the presidential elections annulled, and 3 other countries in the world, that is Maldives, Austria, and Ukraine. So you only have 4 cases where presidential elections were annulled. This was going to be difficult for the opposition in Zimbabwe.
Blessing, thank you very much for coming back on